I'll express my understanding of each before I proffer an answer. Commissioner Baloyi wanted to understand when the reports are filed by the inspectorate and the minister's letter to IDEC, whether it's in respect of the complaint that the dockets were being intercepted, or it's in respect of the content of the dockets, which is the basis of the complaint, or it's in respect of both. Okay. If then our understanding is correct, for our answer, we will direct you to Annexure 15, which is what the witness had testified to, and in particular page 289, where that information note starts. Starts at 289. And just for reference, that particular document concludes at page 291, and you will note below the signature the date. That is the report of the 20th of November, 2024. Once again, for context, there had been a previous report of the 4th of November, 2024. And the commissioners will recall in that particular report, an extension was requested. So this follows up on that. So I would like to refer the commissioners to page 290 of the bundle, which is the second page of that report. And point to paragraph 3.2. Two nine zero at 3.2. And it states, the affidavits in the dockets are basic, and in the opinion of this office, lack the elements of crime. So that's addressing the content of the docket. Now, if we go back to page 289, item 2.2.1, it says, a report was compiled wherein the allegations that there was interference from both the provincial offices were reported to be unfounded. So that 2.2.1 responds to the, it's not interference, interception, and 3.2 refers to the allegations made in the A1 statement, yes, in each docket. So I trust that answers the question unless another arises therefrom.
No, it's not so much a question arising. I think what I wanted to clarify was you had been discussing with the witness and you asked him the question, where is that complaint now?
Yes.
That kind of question.
Oh.
And he answered and it wasn't clear to me which complaint is he responding to now.
And also just to complete the question, I guess one could also ask, what is it that goes to IDEC?
I'm coming there, and I think it ties in very well to Commissioner Baloyi's question. When I asked where is that complaint, it's in relation to the complaint that was forwarded to IDEC by the Chief of Staff. That is the investigation I was interested in, and the witness explained that he related a story that, or his testimony was, involved General Sintumule and assistance to IDEC to obtain the files that were with the inspectorate so that they transfer to IDEC. And General Sintumule will come and talk about what the challenges were then that required intervention to allow for that process to complete so that IDEC can work on the complaint as it received on the 11th of November. This information note relates only to the work of the inspectorate that was carried out by the inspectorate. So as of the 20th of November 2020, as far as the inspectorate was concerned, there was no basis for a complaint, both as contained in each of the 6 dockets, based on what was provided, the decision by the complainant not to avail themselves to provide further elucidation, and the fact that they found no evidence of interception. So both technically were dismissed by That then left the IDEC complaint. Now, getting to the IDEC complaint, that is the one that is referred on the 11th of November. He deals with it, paragraph 180 of his statement. And the complaint is forwarded to IDEC in terms of section 27 of the NPA Act 32 of 1998. And the section 27 reads, if any person has reasonable grounds to suspect that a specified offense has been or is being committed, or that an attempt has been or is being made to commit such an offense, he or she may report the matter in question to the head of investigating directorate by means of an affidavit or affirmed declaration specifying A, the nature of the suspicion, B, the grounds on which the suspicion is based, and C, all other relevant information known to the declarant. So when the Chief of Staff issues that letter, he invokes Section 27. And Section 27 is intended to trigger the investigative process by IDEC into the commission of an offense. So now the color is slightly different because it implies some level of criminality. It is that process that I was inquiring as to the status thereof.
And you've just referred to an affidavit. This is a letter, not an affidavit.
And indeed, that letter is wholly non-compliant with the very sections 27 that it purports to invoke. This leads me to the question posed by Commissioner Khumalo regarding, if I did not misunderstand him, regarding General Khumalo, if I had understood well.
Can I maybe rephrase my question?
Yes.
So there is this complaint by MP Adams, and there is this intervention or decision by the Chief of Staff of the Minister's Office. And I read those with the conclusion in paragraph 184 of the statement, of General Mkhwanazi's statement.
Yes.
And what I was struggling to follow was whether a suggestion was being made that the Chief of Staff and MP Adams were collaborating to frustrate investigations of the GCI ops, or what is it that the General says they are collaborating to achieve? I'm just missing that from paragraph 184 of the statement.
From the testimony of the witness, and again, with reference to the documents, we start with the letter of the Chief of Staff,
Yes.
which arises from a complaint that arrived by email in the Minister's office. That email did not attach the dockets. So the Chief of Staff does not know the nature of the complaints in the dockets. That becomes, only the inspectorate has view of that when it looks into the actual dockets. So the only basis on which the Chief of Staff would be referring this matter to IDEC is that he suspects or there's a complaint of interception. We will run ahead a bit, but before we do so, I go back to page 290. Remembering what
Sorry to interrupt you. Looking at the paragraph that starts due to the nature, page 310.
310.
Yes. On my understanding, that's the referral to IDEC. So when you look at that paragraph, due to the nature of the allegations, And if you read that in the context of what comes before, it seems to me that it's not the interception now that the Chief of Staff is talking about, but rather the complaints in the dockets themselves. I'm just correcting your last or so sentence.
Indeed, and I wish to engage with that, because there is no document that would support a conclusion by the Chief of Staff, to that extent. And the reason being, timeline is important. The complaint by Mr. Adams is made on the 1st of November. It is then immediately referred, as received, to the National Commissioner for on forwarding to the Inspectorate. In that email, there is nothing about the content of the complaint in the dockets. So the Chief of Staff doesn't know. The only complaint that the Chief of Staff receives is the interception of the Cape Town dockets, and what he says seems to be happening once again with the Gauteng. So it's the conduct of the police in intercepting these dockets.
Why do we say that?
Because
That's all that you
it's in
just
the
said.
wording of the email. When one looks at the email, what we have attached are the actual emails that were forwarded to the office of the minister. And that starts at page 266, 266. And that email at 266 speaks to the two sets of dockets, speaks to I was told the dockets were intercepted, and at 4 it says, I have been notified that the Gauteng Police Department had followed the same modus operandi. That is what gets referred to the Inspectorate. The only issue that goes beyond the interception is at page 268. And at 268, it's once again, it's an email to Mr. Nkabinde of the 10th of November, the subsequent one. And it reads, we hereby request that an independent officer or body be appointed, as we are concerned that General Masemola may have erred in his statement that the allegations pertaining to Major General Khumalo's security clearance. In this case, the National Commissioner has misled the nation, which in our view is a very serious issue. So now this is a complaint against General Masemola. The dockets themselves, the 6 of them, relate to a complaint about General Khumalo. And hence the conclusion that even as at the 10th of November, the Chief of Staff did not have knowledge on the content of the actual dockets themselves, and therefore the nature of the complaint in there must be correct. And we say that our interpretation has to be correct regarding being head to how he phrases the referrals to IDEC.
You may continue with your
Okay.
response to my co-commissioner, Commissioner Khumalo.
To do that, I will have to perhaps once again back to page 290, and that's annexure MK15. There's that information note from the Inspectorate which we say dismiss the true complaint. At item 3, under discussion, it says the criminal allegations in the 6 cases which were opened are leveled against Lieutenant General Khumalo, Major General Lushaba, Major General Madondo, and Brigadier Ncube, and are centered on 4 specific matters. You recall when we were looking at email of the 10th, it was about General Masemula's conduct. And that's not part of this investigation. And these are centered on 4 specific matters, namely abuse of the Secret Service account, cover-up of a criminal incident linked to Valera case, failure to address Major General Madondo's result of the polygraph examination, and practices of nepotism. Then we have to jump ahead. I don't want to testify on behalf of the witness to point Commissioner Kumalo to page 96 of the witness statement. And from paragraphs 3 to 5. All right. Now, that deals with the arrest of General Kumalo subsequently, arising from a case of, quote, at best, nepotism. Criminal charges are laid against him, that's in there, and he is arrested. He is now on bail. So when the witness said in his statement that they follow patterns, this is the pattern that they are speaking to, and I'm going to hand over to him now to explain the pattern issue. But before I do so, I would like to draw your attention to a qualifier he put forward before dealing with specific allegations. And that's at 158. And it states, I request that each of the facts I articulate below be taken into proper context, being the developing pattern of cartel infiltration of policing and the criminal justice system in general in the country that is being established by available intelligence. Each fact on its own may admittedly not be conclusive, but I submit that in the context provided, each supports, at the very least, a call for further and deeper interrogations and investigations. So as the various pieces come together, there'll be a better appreciation of the facts that he's testifying to now, because they are part of what he contends, or they contend, the police, is a developing pattern.
But if you had not reached the part that you say you are going to direct the witness to, I prefer that you should not jump there.
Okay.
Get back to where you were and just go on with the...
Okay, then we will flag it when we get to that part.
Yes.
I will make sure that the witness deals, connects what it now at page 96 back to this conversation to conclude the point. Thank you, Chair.
You.
I'll approach it that way. In light of the answers provided, I don't want us to rehash. I just want to make sure that the witness had not completed the point that he sought to make, insofar as the complaint to Inspectorate and IDEC are concerned. General, therefore, to test my understanding, and please listen carefully, and I will pick up on what the chair said, and I do so quite mindful of the fact that the chair did qualify his comment to say it's early days, with reference to quote-unquote and non-complaint. So I want to inquire from the witness the nature of the actual complaint insofar as what we've been discussing is concerned. We know that Mr. Adams' complaint, or non-complaint, however it can be defined, triggered 2 separate investigative processes into the conduct of the police. Is that your case?
That is correct.
What is wrong
That's
with
correct.
that? What is wrong with that?
Commissioner, when as we investigate, as I said before, that we get an evidence of something and we try and connect this with something else, and we start seeing a different picture. Mr. Adam, despite the fact that he leveled these complaints against these individuals at crime intelligence, on the 29th and the 31st of October, respectively, in two different police stations, two different provinces. The following day, then he sends a complaint to the minister. The outcome of that complaint seems to not resolve or address what they want to achieve or what he wants to achieve. In that, the National Commissioner's Office, the inspectorate in the police through the National Commissioner's Office is asking for additional number of days, which is another 10 days. The minister receives this and he acknowledged this on the 8th of November. 2 days later, Mr. Adams sends another email, now with a different content, same complaint, but now he believes this time around he's talking to what the National Commission has done, but yet he has not been able to engage with the inspectorate. So I don't know how is he privy to the National Commission's report that is directed to the minister. But he seems to address, now he is including the National Commission now, that the National Commission himself is wrong with regard to how he's handling the vetting issue of Khumalo and so forth. And this email, he sends it to the minister on the 10th. That is 2 days later after the minister signs the acknowledgement of the extension of 10 days. He sends another email on the 10th to the minister. He's now asking the minister to refer this to a different body to investigate. So that's how I think what then triggers the invitation of IDEC or the justification of saying, Mr. Adams, your complaint is unfounded for now. But in order not to wait, send me something else or the making allegations on this so that we can move this thing outside the police. So that's the only conclusion that one can draw from looking at the pattern that the inspectorate is trying to engage you, you are not availing yourself, they produce a report, the minister receives it on the 8th, on the 10th, you are now sending an email talking about almost the same report that you did not participate on. You are now blaming the National Commission because this report comes from the National Commission. And we are now requesting that another body be invited to take over these dockets. That's what we see as a behavior that Adams is doing, and also the office of the minister. Commissioners, maybe if I also take you back a bit, my apologies that when inspectorate conduct this investigation, General Jacobs, besides having the expertise within inspectorate to be able to read the case dockets, because they are detectives themselves within, they are qualified, but he refers this complaint to legal services of the South African Police Service in order to get their opinion from an independent body that is legal services, who are people that are admitted advocates that are sitting in that division. The inspectorate wrote back to legal services, wrote back to inspectorate on the same complaint, and you'll see it on the annexure 293.
Page 293.
On page 293, I beg your pardon. On same annexure 15.
Yes.
This is the letter from inspectorate that is written from legal services that is signed by Lieutenant General Thamane, who is a divisional commissioner of legal services. And if you look at the last page, 296, on different paragraphs, maybe I'll just read one on record. Paragraph 9 says, as indicated above, this is the response of legal services to having studied the dockets. And they are responding to inspectorate, giving advice, legal advice to inspectorate with regard to this complaint. They are saying, as indicated above, at the complaining statements, all the complainant statements consist of hearsay evidence, which is unadmissible in court. The identity of witnesses who may have personal knowledge of the allegations are also not mentioned in the statement. This information is critical to ensure a proper investigation. There's just one quotation of what the legal services is saying.
And perhaps you might want then, on that vein, to continue to point 11.
2.11 reads, Commissioners, whilst the allegations made by the complainant are serious in nature, they are unsubstantiated at this stage. The complainant's statement can be described as vague in accusation rather than account of factual details that fall within the complainant's personal knowledge. So this is what I thought, let me just reflect on, that Inspectorate, in reaching the conclusion on their letter to say there's no basis, there's no element of crime on this complaint that warrants even the registration of the docket, but nonetheless, the dockets were registered. So coming back into this, Commissioner, what I want to also draw attention is that in my statement on page 58, number 17174.3 on my statement.
Paragraph 174.3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
On this page, I'm just indicating the complaints that Mr. Adams have put on his statement when he registered these dockets. And one of those complaints that I want to draw the attention of the commissioners on is 17.3, which reads, the third case concerned the appointment of Ms. Mukwele as head of the Technical Support Service at Crime Intelligence. This is an individual that was appointed at Crime Intelligence, which formed the basis of one of the cases registered both in Cape Town and in Orlando. I must indicate, Commissioners, that of all the complaints that were presented on all these dockets given to IDEC, the only arrest of that entire team is based on this Ms. Mukwele that was appointed from BMW coming to Crime Intelligence. It is based on that. It is not about this case of Adams, but it is about a new case that was later registered. The complainant, the very same Mr. Adams, on a different statements that he now deposited to IDEC in January of 2025, not part to these ones of October. Same facts on this, and these dockets are with IDEC, but the arrest is effected on a new complaint by Mr. Adams, now specifically to this person. So it is why we are saying this is a strategy employed to make sure, Special Commissioner Kumalo, that, as I kept on referencing, there's one central figure here, or there's one problem that needs to be fixed. And this problem is to stop the investigation of this drug cartel. And that is in Gauteng province. And the common person in this thing, it's Kumalo in the center.
My question has been answered now.
It has been
That's
answered.
really what I wanted to get to.
Then just to say, we will come back to that. You had the witness speak to new information, new affidavit. Those relate to the matters that are dealt with at page 96, when we specifically deal with what is termed the General Kumalo case.
Can I
Yes,
just confirm? General, you say 174.3 is the basis on which General Kumalo was arrested. Is it the only charge that he's facing presently? I mean, it's a matter of public knowledge that there are criminal proceedings. Is that the only charge?
Commissioner,
Before he answers, General, if I may, because I fear the witness might misunderstand as to, is it the only charge? Because the charge sheet may contain a number of charges. I understand the commissioner to want to know whether the charges for which, the charges leveled against him arise from that one incident.
Yes.
As opposed to it there being only one charge.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, and I just need a yes or no answer. You don't have to give me detail of what it is.
the answer is yes. This forms the basis of the arrest of General Kumalo and the team at Crime Intelligence by IDEC, if I may qualify.
Thank you, Mr.
thank you, General. Okay, now to find my place again. General, I think that in large part has dealt with your complaint as regards the conduct of Mr. Adams. You, beyond that, then move to another issue from paragraph 186, and this relates to what you say is the conduct of Ms. Kola Barnard as a member of parliament. And you have attached, or you have reproduced a start of a statement. In dealing with that particular complaint, please have regard to the question that the chair had posed at the beginning of your evidence about Mr. Adams, or no, I think it was Commissioner Baloyi, which is the relevance of this evidence, this complaint, to the terms of reference. So you deal with your complaint regarding Ms. Barnard, but please try and locate it to the extent that you can in its proper context.
Not that I'm claiming credit, I raised that question.
Oh, I do. The chair definitely raised it. Yes. If you are able to, if you are not, and you explain it away as part of the pattern that you reference, then we will deal with it in due course.
Actually, in my marginal comments on my statement, I have the same question in respect of this MP as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I've preempted the chairperson's question, asking the same question twice. So, yes, it's in that context that I would like you to summarize what your complaint is and how you suggest that it is relevant to the Commission's terms of reference.
Commissioners, Ms. Kola Barnard is a long-serving member of Parliament. Maybe you might, beg your pardon, Ms. Kola Barnard, maybe you might excuse to some degree, not that I agree with it, Mr. Adams, of being new in that Parliament. But Ms. Kola Barnard is a veteran in Parliament as a lawmaker who ought to understand what belongs where in Parliament. And I can confirm, Commissioners, that she is appointed by her own political party, which is a Democratic Alliance, to be a member of both the Portfolio Committee on Police that deals with the open account, as well as being a member of the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence, which deals with the covert farms. So she's better positioned to call the department to come and account at the right platform. But we have seen, and I said when I started, I'm going to throw one example of each. I'm not going to go into details with many. There are many examples. But she's one of the leaders in our legislature that is participating in both breaking the law as well as fueling these malicious attacks that are happening within crime intelligence, and ultimately directed at Khumalo as the head of that intelligence. I said she is a member of Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. So what I put here on as an example on page 61 under paragraph 186 is a statement that she released in her capacity as a member of the Democratic Alliance, which I'm going to quote these two paragraphs, Commissioners, on record. The Democratic Alliance is calling for an immediate and thorough investigation into the recent purchase of a multi-million rand commercial property by the Crime Intelligence Division of the South African Police Service in Bria in Durban. The second paragraph, this purchase, approved by high-ranking officials within crime intelligence, raises serious concern due to the vast amount of taxpayers' money involved, especially as it follows a previous highly questionable property acquisition in Pretoria to the tune of 22.7 million rand, a matter that the Inspector General of Intelligence confirmed is now being investigated. The full statement is available on internet. You can go and draw it. It comes from Ms. Kola Barnett. Now, she's introducing an Inspector General. We know, and we're going to demonstrate that later, that the intelligence community, they operate separately from a normal account. There are 3 entities established in the country. One is within defense, another one is state security, the third one is crime intelligence. And both of them are supervised by the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that is the only individual that has got access to all the classified and the work that they do at crime intelligence. And whatever reports this Inspector General of Intelligence discover must communicate with the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. Later in our presentation, Commissioners, I will demonstrate in some of the incidents that happen at crime intelligence that involve the Office of the Inspector General of Intelligence being used by politicians, which I had an experience on as I read my portfolio, my profile, the experience I had when I was the acting National Commissioner at the time. We will indicate that because in trying to address the issues at crime intelligence and the political involvement, back in 2011, I deposited an affidavit at the Zondo Commission. That affidavit is available. Unfortunately, I was never invited to come and testify at the Zondo Commission. So the patterns that were there, the modus operandi of how they are dealing with things at crime intelligence, back then, it still exists today. So what we see here is a person who has a legal obligation to keep the mouth shut and go to the Joint Standing Committee and present and ventilate on this and hold the Divisional Commission accountable. But she does not use that platform. She goes publicly and discloses this. The risk of this, Commissioners, is that it forces the members that are within crime intelligence in the public space to defend themselves by divulging all the secrets of the states that they are aware of, the irregularities within crime intelligence that ranges from the police to the political parties, which the members are not supposed to according to their vetting and their classification of that information. The platform they have to vent that is within the Inspector General of Intelligence and Parliament, Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence. So that's why a provincial commissioner like myself, Jerome Corners, I'm not invited to the Joint Standing Committee because I've got no business with that budget. It is the Divisional Commission of Crime Intelligence that has an access to the Joint Standing Committee to go and account because he's the one that is classified to be there and deal with the matter. So we demonstrate here that the Ms. Kola Barnett have acted, and the Inspector General of Intelligence, we have evidence of that he's part of the instrument of investigating the things or counter-investigation of the things that the team are doing within intelligence. So that's what I thought maybe I must bring forward without going more into details. As I said earlier, these are some of the things that J.R. Kumal is going to come here and is going to elaborate more of what actually is contained on this Gauteng counterintelligence investigation, who is involved, and how the counter, what is the role that the Inspector General of Intelligence is playing in trying to frustrate this project. And we know in public, it's public knowledge, that the very same Inspector General of Intelligence have signed MOUs with entities outside that intelligence structure. Okay. One of them is IPIT, which is within the police, as an example. So, but we'll demonstrate that, Commissioners, because what we're trying to show here and tell the South Africans is that the whole intention is to stop the investigation of this cartel and the operations of this cartel. And all the efforts that we are seeing as we are presenting this today is that there is a concerted effort of making sure that Khumalo and whoever he works with are frustrated in making this to end in court. And different approaches are being applied, as we're going to be demonstrating as we are continuing with this testimony today.
So you are suggesting for the moment that that issue be flagged, the complaint regarding that particular MP be flagged, and that General Khumalo will testify more as regards the issue you highlight here. Is that your testimony?
That exactly. Simple because there's a secret fund account mentioned here, there's Inspector General of Intelligence mentioned here. That is not much of my space, so that's why Khumalo will come and testify on this in details, Commissioners.
Thank you, General. So those were the two complaints you leveled against the politicians in Parliament.
That's correct.
Now, from page 61, we now concentrate on the executive, and you start that conversation at paragraph 187, all the way to paragraph 213. So let's take it in bite sizes. And we start at paragraph 187. You may read some aspects of it into the record, or you may speak to it as is most comfortable for you.
Commissioners, I had said previously when EWN Media asked me questions, I conducted an interview in my office, and I repeated again in Parliament on the 5th of March, and I repeated the same thing on the 6th of July this year, that there is a gentleman, Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, who is an associate of the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. I spoke about Brown Mokhotsi as an associate of Senzo Mchunu, Minister Senzo Mchunu, simple because what confirmed that is that when I received a WhatsApp communication from a number that I do not know, with the information that we're going to talk about later on the statement, it made me ask a question because the person who's communicating with me seems to suggest that he is close to the minister, he is with the minister. But for me to confirm that, I had to first engage the person that I said earlier, I knew very well, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabende. I called him to confirm this fellow, whether does he know a person called Brown Mokhotsi.
General, if I may, and I'm
Yes.
sorry I do apologize for having to interject. Perhaps if we follow the narrative as you set out in the statement, paragraph by paragraph, summarize, because you have set out the steps with reference to when what event occurred and culminating in your conclusion, lest we lose the commissioners. If that's
Yeah.
workable with you,
Yeah.
if you may.
No, Commissioners, I was just introducing Brown Mokhotsi, that there is this gentleman who made contact with me, and the Chief of Staff confirmed that this person is a close associate with the minister. So that's how I got a confirmation, also with the exchange of messages between me and the Chief of Staff. So that's when I got to be comfortable that this person is speaking because he knows things that are happening at the office of the minister. When Commissioners, on the same paragraph 187, but second page 62, I had raised issues because upon further engagement, and I discovered that this Brown Mokhotsi is linked to the underworld figures, people that are subject to investigation that are involved in criminality within the country. And this person is close to the minister. So when we appeared before the portfolio committee and I mentioned this Brown Mokhotsi, the minister on the record in Parliament, he denied knowing this person on record. But later, in a private conversation that the minister had on the 30th of March, he acknowledged that he knows this person as his comrade. Commissioners, I'm not good in English. I don't know what's the definition of comrade and what's the definition of associate. I use the word associate, and they deny the associate, but they confirm a comrade. I'm not an associate, but I'm a comrade. So,
And this was a private conversation between whom?
between the minister and one lady, K. That's a conversation that, fortunately, that lady recorded the conversation. It was a telephone conversation between them.
And if I may, General, I know you're getting there, but so the chairperson has posed the question. Is that conversation? I apologize. I switch it off because the paper tends to make noise. To the chair, we will get to that point, but perhaps the chair might want to make a note that recording that the general references is dealt with at paragraph 201 of his statement, and that's where the detail of that recording is provided. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner, the communication between me and this Mr. Brown Mohotsi started on the 30th of September 2024. This is when I had received a WhatsApp message from Mr. Brown Mohotsi, where in his own writing, in that WhatsApp message, he was warning me in a way of saying that there is attempts of discrediting me by means of a case of the allegations of the defeating the end of justice case that was going to be registered in relation to an incident that had happened in KZN at Correctional Services at Timpangeni.
General, if I may, I know that in the next succeeding I do apologize. I hope, I tend to bump into it so it makes noise, but I'll keep it on. From here on, you deal with a series of communication, and you only attach the actual communication at the end of your narrative. May I request, as you walk through the commissioners through what you say here, that perhaps we invite them to your annexure MK17, and you read both what you state in your statement in relation to any single event with reference to any part of MK17. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Commissioners, as I said, the communication started on the 30th of September when Mr. Brown Mohotsi made his allegations. Now, obviously, I don't know where he got my number from, but he made contact with me, cell phone contact.
Sorry, is it the one on page 315?
313, that's where it
WhatsApp you're referring
starts,
to?
Commissioners. It starts from 313, 313, 314, and it runs up until I think the entire annexure, Commissioner, which ends at 320.
I'm trying to identify the very first communication. Just look at page 315.
Yes, yes, Commissioner.
Is that the very first WhatsApp you received from
Yeah,
Mr.
that's the first one, yeah. I'm sorry with the order,
Yes.
because it got dates. Yes, it's on
Yes,
315, that's correct. So as you can see, the first wording says, "My General Brown Mohotsi from Northwest." And then the communication, I think, continues. Yeah, the pages are not aligned correctly, Commissioners, because the next one, it becomes 313, which is then a continuation of 315.
Did you
May
know?
I make this request, please?
Yes.
Please rearrange these pages.
Absolutely.
And you will, of course, then have to
change the numbering
attend
as well.
to the numbering as well.
Definitely, and we intend to do so. May I, for the purposes of this current conversation, accept that the communication starts at 315?
Yes.
If you look at the bottom of 315, it's a snapshot of
Report.
no, not a report, occurrence book,
Oh,
which then is reflected at page 313. 313 ought to have followed 315. If you could just bear in mind, right? So it will be, what you have 315 as the first, 313 would be the second, and then it follows sequentially. Somewhere in the copying, we will correct it, Chair. Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
Commissioner, as you see on those attachments there, what I want to indicate is that, as I started, that I needed to confirm this person, which Chief of Staff confirmed, and later I got his number checked officially so, and it was confirmed it's a number that is registered on the record under his name. So there is no question mark as to his identity as an individual that exists in this country. So, Mr. Brown Mohotsi, without maybe following all the paragraph, commissioners, his first, as you have indicated on attachment 315, he start by first sending me a message about the basis for this attempt to open a case against me. And he attaches a copy or a screenshot of a police register at the police station at Mpangeni. He had said it's from Northwest, but he sends me a copy of the occurrence book of Mpangeni SAPS. That's a police station that is serving the Minister of Police. It's literally less than 5 kilometers away from the minister's house. I received this thing. I'm already told it's close to the minister. That's why I'm linking the minister to it. He sends me this OB, and I'm asking myself, I wonder, how does he get hold of a copy of an OB entry? But nonetheless, he sends me the copy of the OB entry. But he also sends me a draft letter that was not signed. The letter that is not signed has the similar content. Unfortunately, Commissioner, we did not print it, but it is that which is referred to on 313 KZN factual report. That is the draft letter. It's a letter, a police letter, that is got the details of an officer that was in charge on that scene on the day of an incident that happened at Correctional Services. But that officer did not sign that letter. It's a letter that is drafted but without a signature. So he attached it on WhatsApp.
Before you proceed, just for the record, that letter was not provided for the purposes of your statement. It is what is attached as per these messages under KZN factual report. But the actual document itself is not provided to us, so we don't know the contents. Am I correct? Well, because it was attached, I had opened it. I cannot remember if I saved that letter separately. I'll just have to check on the record. Because I did a screenshot of the conversation between me and him before they were deleted. So we will check and see if you can still.
I'll check
obtain
on
a
my
copy.
record. Probably I will have the copy of the letter.
Thank you, General.
Commissioners, this is the first communication he has with me. And I then responded to him, as you see there on 315. On his initial letter, when I asked him what was he talking about, then he sends me this communication. But I gave him a response on that communication. And my response was to him that I am aware of the incident. I was involved in that incident. I'm the one that guided the leader of that team of how to handle that case. The content of the occurrence book and the content of the factual report that was attached is a true reflection of my guidance to him. And I explained to him what actually transpired at this correctional facility on the day.
Please refer me to the relevant page. That would be 3.1 what? Your response to him. Because, yeah, the sequence is confusing as was indicated earlier.
Commissioner, I'm going to have to align these attachments here because I think, yeah, they indeed, they are confusing. If the commissioner agree, allow me.
Can't we take a 3 or 5 minutes, and then you just rearrange this?
We just
Please,
rearrange
please,
and we'll
please.
renumber.
Because, for example, I'm looking, that was a State House, blah, blah, and I have no idea
We shall do so. Thank you, Chair. Thanks for the opportunity.
how that.
Not unless commissioner wants to break, but it doesn't take me long to get to the right page on my response. It's just the sequence of them because I know them.
That's why I was asking you to take me to the relevant page, because I didn't see where your response is, for example. General
318.
318. Is that, so is it your response that starts, that was a State House which is within DCS premises?
That's correct.
Does your response start exactly there?
Commissioner, I don't think it starts there. It could be that maybe not all the attachments that we put in.
Does it start at the bottom of 319? I know that matter very well, which was an illegal operation that was conducted at the premises of a high-ranking DCS officer without a search warrant. That was a State House, which, is that how it flows?
That is correct. That's
Chair,
correct, Commissioner.
and-
Maybe we should take that break, then we can
Let's
align.
let's take the
then we can align
opportunity
this one.
granted, right? Thank you.
Let us indicate, we'll stand somewhere here.
We shall. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. We have rearranged your files in the order that they follow, based on the timestamps. Please, for the moment, ignore the pagination at the top right. We shall replace the pages accordingly. So as things stand, because of the pagination, we can't risk them falling because they get all mixed up again. So both the general and us have got the same order as has been corrected in your files. So perhaps the proper place to start is with the question that Commissioner Khumalo had posed, which is the start of this communication chain. So, General, what we now know to be the start, as rearranged in your file, starts with the date of the 30th of September.
Commissioners, I must first apologize, Senior Counsel, I must also apologize to you because what I noticed is that, Commissioners, or what I have as a screenshot of the conversation between me and Mr. Brown, I did not print everything. Even after the rearrangement, there are some missing 2 or 3.
No, I'll share with Commissioner Khumalo. Mine is still wrong. Doesn't matter. Let's go on.
The secretary.
You can do it for
So,
tomorrow morning.
sorry, General, yeah. We can continue, we will share,
Thank you, Chair. Quite distressing, but I do apologize. So General, you say the pack as you provided us is missing some.
That is correct, Commissioners. There's at least 1, 2, 3, and 4
Okay.
pages I should have made, which is a continuation of communication between me and Mr. Brown. It might have cut off in October and it started again in April, and again, the last one being a telecommunication on the 3rd of July, just before the press briefing.
Okay. May I propose, if it might work, because then it means we still have to get the copies from you.
That's correct.
We still have to update the files. Perhaps we leave the issue of Mr. Mukhosi in its entirety for now, because it hangs on the communication that was had.
No, we can share, let's go ahead. I will-
No, the
Oh,
point, the
sorry,
point, the point the general makes
Oh, oh.
is even rearranged.
Okay.
He didn't give us everything.
Oh, I
So
hear
there's some communication that is missing from the packs that we all have.
Oh.
Now, the question is whether or not his evidence will follow
Okay.
sequentially when he has, what he has on the screen that we don't have on the file. So I was suggesting that because he's dealing with different people, that we perhaps file the Mr. Mukhosi issue till tomorrow morning, and overnight we correct this, but then we deal with the next one.
Thank you, thank you.
Would that disrupt the flow of your testimony, Mr. Mukhosi?
It's been a long day.
Apologies, Chair, and apologies to Mr. Mukhosi. Apologies, General, for calling you by wrong name. But I think the Chair, you had confirmed that we can park this issue. We will
Yes.
revert to it tomorrow.
Yes.
And mine was to check whether that would work with General Mkhwanazi, if we did as I proposed, General. So, and if you agree with me, that then would lead us to page 75, under political interference. Would it be okay if we jumped this part regarding Mr. Mukhosi and we update all your communication with him? We will come deal with it first thing in the morning, but in the meantime, we can move on to deal with the next person.
No, I'm okay with that, Commissioners.
Oh, actually, I'm informed, I jumped some. We deal with law enforcement at 68. I was ahead of myself. We deal with Mr. Mukhosi, if you recall, General, in the context of dealing with the executive. You start that part at page 61, paragraph 187, where you deal with Minister Mkhunu. You then lead on to your WhatsApp conversations with Mr. Mukhosi. And I'm saying that entire conversation we park for today, and we move on to your next issue, which is now dealing with law enforcement agencies, starting from page 68, and we will come back to the issue of Mr. Mukhosi tomorrow. Would that work?
That's correct.
Okay. Chair, thank you for that indulgence. We will obtain the further documents from the General and update your files accordingly. Thank you. General, then let's turn to page 68 of your statement. And from page 68 to page 75, you deal with law enforcement agencies. And you reference two instances under that heading. In the order that you have dealt with them, could you please engage with the issues, starting from paragraph 214?
Commissioners, as I said when I started yesterday, what I will present before this commission, it's an information that I have a personal knowledge of, which in the main was the political killings task team that I've already addressed. And some of the things I'm going to be presenting here, it's an information that was presented to me by the different disciplines in the police as they are engaging on the work that they do. Some of that information is what you're going to begin to see here, which information that will be confirmed by the very same people that were briefing me when they come before this commission with that evidence. For instance, I will talk about a report that is available, which I have seen, but I might not display it here. They are going to come with that report and show it to the commission, if that is okay. I just want to make sure the commission understand, so that as when I talk, it mustn't be the question of where is the evidence of this you're talking about. It could be the information that I'm told during the course of work, as in my capacity as a senior officer. Mind you, commissioners, that the 10 members that are members of the political killings task team are still in Gauteng, part of GCI Ops. And I am having this conversation with the leader of this GCI Ops, General Kumalo, in order to get status in terms of the duration of this operation. And that's when I'm getting the extent of the work that they have before them that they must still do in Gauteng. So one of those, as we are indicating how this criminality or the syndicates are operating, getting the individuals that are within the political setup as well as business that we're going to talk about later, maybe tomorrow. And there's also police officers that are part of this, or law enforcement officers. I might not talk about many examples that are out there. There are many cases. I'm going to cite few. So one of them is this, what is sitting at 214, where I was indicating that the Mr. Matlala, Ket Matlala, Vusmus Ket Matlala, is one fellow that has been enjoying too much privilege from the law enforcement. And the typical example is that one of, or at least few of his vehicles, not talking about the number, but it's a couple of them, 4 or 5, the number will be confirmed through the report. His personal vehicles were registered by the Deputy Chief of Police at Guruleni, that is Major General Mkwanazi. He facilitated the registration of these Mr. Matlala's vehicles under the municipality as if they are municipality official vehicles, utilizing the funds from the municipality of Ekurhuleni. So the vehicles then belong on record, when you test them on the system, they reflect as if they belong to municipality. It did not end there, commissioners. He took these vehicles and he caused the municipality to take the blue lights that belongs to municipality. The blue lights are supposed to be for the law enforcement vehicles within municipality, and he fitted those blue lights in these vehicles. And these vehicles were then given to Mr. Ket Matlala. I must indicate, in terms of the Traffic Act, the only authorized bodies to be able to drive with blue light on the streets are law enforcement, which would include SAPS, the Metro Police, Traffic Police, as well as the military police of the defense. They are the only one authorized by law to make use of these blue lights. And even the utilization of the blue light is somehow regulated, that you cannot just willy-nilly use a blue light. So it's an emergency light, it's a warning light. But this was not only done by Matlala privately to the service provider, but it was done by law enforcement of Ekurhuleni. And to confirm this, you will there is a report that is available because this complaint comes from the chief of this municipality. When he registered the complaint against this, told, according to his words, he was suspended because the principal at municipality did not want him to pursue this investigation against his junior. So he provided this information and he brought this to the attention of his executive in municipality, city manager. It will appear that not much was done to the person that was responsible for this, despite the fact that the law was broken. So that's what I thought I must just indicate, covering mass light, starting from 214 up until the next page, where I'm indicating that the complaint from the chief of Metro Police at Ekurhuleni ended with IPID, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, that are charged with the responsibility of investigating the criminality that is caused by the police in the line of their work. The IPID conducted this investigation, and there's a report that the IPID produced to Ekurhuleni, a report that makes recommendations to the executive of Ekurhuleni for them to take action against this Major General Mkhwanazi, who is a deputy chief responsible for operations at Ekurhuleni.
That I think deals with
That deals with
the issue of Ekurhuleni and the blue lights.
Yes,
Right.
and that up to 219
Then you introduce a new
on my statement.
issue there, starting from paragraph 220.
Yes. I must indicate, Commissioners, that that report of IPID is classified. So part of it will need to be declassified so that the Commissioner will have an insight on it.
And before then you move on, all the declassified documents that have been identified in the witness statements have been listed, and we are seeking the declassification thereof. And as soon as that is obtained, we shall make available then these supporting IPID reports. Thank you.
On paragraph 220, onward, Commissioners, I wanted to draw your attention to, or demonstrate before this commission, that there is other involvement of police officers. An example that I'm putting here is one police officer from Johannesburg Metro. This police officer is a very close associate of the arrested Mr. Katiso Molefe. On the 5th of February, 2025, this Metro Police officer, Johannes Mahatle, who works at JMPD, he deposited a statement, an affidavit, during the investigation that was conducted by GCI Ops following the arrest of Mr. Molefe, which happened on the 6th of December last year. So this is him explaining in his own affidavit that he deposited. The reason for the team to approach him and ask him to deposit an affidavit is because of his presence during the arrest of Katiso Molefe and the role that he played on that day. I'm going to quote on what he says on his affidavit, Commissioner, on page 7222 on my statement. In this affidavit, Officer Mahatle states that he became acquainted with Warrant Officer Michael Puletau, a former member of the South African Police Detective Branch, Johannesburg Central, who is an accused with Mr. Molefe in the Vereeniging murder case of Mr. Swart, as a fellow police officer during 2008. So it is him who's admitting that he's close friends with both of the suspects on a Vereeniging case. Through him, that is the detective, he was introduced to Mr. Katiso Molefe, with whom he struck a close relationship over time, and they established direct contact. He says, I understand that Warrant Officer Tao resigned from the service after he was arrested and charged for murder of Mr. Swart. What he stated under oath, Commissioners, is that on the 6th of December, the day where Mr. Mlife was arrested, he reported on duty, and while he's on duty, he received a phone call from Mr. Mlife, who was complaining about a suspicious vehicle that was parked on the street next to his house. And he immediately proceeded to Mlife's residence. And he fetched Mr. Mlife, and they drove to the vehicle that Mlife was suspended, which means he transported Mr. Mlife with his own vehicles, not knowing whether it's a state vehicle he was using, or municipality vehicle, or his private vehicle. It doesn't indicate it. But he fetched Mlife, and he drove with Mlife to the suspected vehicle. And he took note of the car's registration number. And with the use of the ACPS system available to him, the system that he has an access to, he then used that to check the registration number of this vehicle in order to establish who is the owner of the vehicle. He then got out of the car and he approached the occupant of the vehicle and introduced himself. And thereafter, he went back into his vehicle, and then he informed Mr. Mlife that the vehicle is a police vehicle. And after that, they drove back with Mr. Mlife, and he dropped him off at his home, and he went on with his patrols. And then he says, on the very same day, later, Mr. Mlife's son, Neo, informed him that Mr. Mlife was arrested on the same matter that Officer Tao was arrested on, which is a Vereeniging case. So as I said, Commissioners, that the team that is investigating, that took this statement from him, they will come before this commission and they will explain in details about the role of this member. But my problem I have with him, other than knowing the person, but start doing the favors of the person, that becomes a problem. In that he then go and test the vehicle to establish the ownership, and he goes and brief his friend or his associate to say, oh, this is a police vehicle, so don't worry about it. That is the first concern that we have with regard to this officer. So which means he then he uses his advantage position of being a traffic police officer to advance the interest of Mr. Kati Somlife. There are many other things that are contained on the statement, and also to confirm, Commissioner, whether on the day was he on duty or not, officially, that he claimed he was on duty for. The team that is going to come will come and explain further to the Commissioner that what have they discovered, whether was this man actually on duty on the day when he claims that he was on duty, or he was not on duty. He might have perhaps provided the wrong information. And that is as far as I want to leave in as far as the Metropolis is concerned.
Thank you, General.
Sorry, before you leave that, General, paragraph 228 of your statement.
Yeah, Commissioner, if I may read this one on record, where it says that he also renewed licenses for vehicles at Mr. Mlife's request, for which he will receive gratification. So Mr. Mlife will ask him to register the vehicles, and he will do that, and of course, there will be a reward coming from Mr. Mlife in that regard. So the affidavit that he wrote, we attached it here. Although it's handwritten, I hope the Commission will be able to see as marked MK18 on the annexures of this individual. So we want to demonstrate, Commissioners, that a police officer of his status is indeed conducting himself in an unprofessional manner, and the unlawful conduct of abusing the state resources as well as his position as a police officer in order to benefit his friends, in this case, Mr. Molefe, is what makes us reach a conclusion that these are some of police officers within the metropolis that are playing part to supporting the work or the illegal activities that is done by some criminals out there. So this is basically where I'm going to end with regard to the two. I must indicate, as I said, there are many other law enforcement officials that I did not necessarily include in the statement. Commissioners, you will recall, I had mentioned during the press briefing, and it is a public knowledge already, that in one instance, Mr. Ket Matlala was found with a cell phone inside prison, inside the correctional facilities. For obvious, he was not supposed to be in possession of such, and such a cell phone was facilitated by individuals within correctional service to get to him because they have access to it. But I must thank the Commissioner of Correctional Services, because on a day when we addressed the nation on the 6th of July, the Commissioner called me because after watching the address, he felt that he must send officials, the credible correctional service officials, to go and inspect this detained person, Ket Matlala, and to go and inspect his cell and search him. It is when they did that, on the direction of the Commissioner of Correctional Service, that they found the cell phone. So the Commissioner then contacted me directly, and he said he himself, as a senior officer within the criminal justice system, within law enforcement, he doesn't have much trust on what's happening now in this area. And he says, for sure, someone brought in this cell phone and facilitated for this cell phone to get to the suspect or the detained person inside. And I must make sure that I send someone I trust to go and fetch and collect this cell phone. So that's when the team, GCI Ops team, went to correctional facility and they collected that cell phone from Mr. Ket Matlala. And I'm not going to get into the details then what was extracted on the phone, but the mere fact that he had the phone inside the correctional facility, it then implicates some officials within the system. But fortunately, it's the same department with the credible officials that are working within the system, supported by the Commissioner, that help us to retrieve that phone.
Thank you. Yeah, please, Chair.
The affidavit of Mr. Johannes Mokhatle, it's relatively legible, but
Yes, there are.
hoping that it's not
Transcription
too
is underway.
much of a, can we have a typed version?
Yes,
Please.
transcription is underway, and that is why in his statement he quotes so extensively from it. It was appreciating the fact that it is in hand.
Yes.
And just to make things easier for the commissioners, he quoted extensively as he did. But transcription is underway and being retyped, and it shall be amended as, annexed as MK 18-1, but retaining the original handwritten copy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, General. That deals with your examples around law enforcement agencies. From page 72, then, you start a new topic now regarding what you call business people. Would you like to lead your evidence on that? For the moment, I would request, insofar as business people are concerned, you take it to page 74 at paragraph 241. Because from 238, you once again bring in Mr. Mukhotsi, I am going to request that you stop before you get to Mr. Mukhotsi, and we will deal with that aspect of your statement tomorrow when we deal with the whole Mr. Mukhotsi related testimony. Do you understand?
If I understand, Commissioner, it will mean I will have to end at 239
At 237,
or 237.
yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, Commissioner.
No, sorry, my apologies, I think you are correct, 239.
239.
I misread the other, 239.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioners, business people, this information that I'm highlighting here, it's an extract from the communication between different people that are subject to the investigation by the GCI ops. And some of these communications are coming from cell phones of the people that are already arrested. And some of them are coming from the people that, where the team is conducting cordon and searches and the likes, and they extract this information. And in some instances, they will probably get information from an approved download in terms of Section 205 of the criminal procedure to authorize the downloading or of the information from different service providers. So this will, of course, then be a direct communication between people, and in some instances, communication from the third party that is going to be presented. There is a gentleman, according to the records that we have, that the team will come and display further, that he's a businessman in Northwest, Mr. Suleiman Karim. Mr. Suleiman Karim, as a businessman in Northwest, maintains a direct communication with the arrested person, Vusmuz Ket Matlala. And in their communication, it involves the contract that Ket Matlala has with the police service, which was a 360 million rand contract I spoke about during the press briefing. And in these two of them are having, Matlala is approaching him to help him engage with the minister in order to stop the cancellation of his contract. And this Mr. Suleiman Karim, of course, commits to do that because he has this relationship with the minister. And as I say, I don't want to dive deeper into the other conversations or activities that are taking place in that communication between the two. However, the intention here to display is to show that there is this gentleman that is part of the movement of money and the coordinator between Mr. Matlala and the minister, and is part of the investigation. That's why I'm not going to go deeper into explaining how the movement of funds and the likes are happening. But it's just to flag him as an enabler to facilitate the interest of the minister as well as the relationship with Ket Matlala.
Okay.
On the following page 234, I'm just showing the extract.
Sorry, General, can I just ask for completeness of my understanding? And if you can't answer it for the reasons that you have given, please feel free to say that. Is Mr. Karim in any way involved in the contract? Is he part to the contract between Matlala and the SAPS?
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You wanted to move on to paragraph 234, not page 234, paragraph 234, General.
Yes, paragraph 234, this is a communication between Mr. Vusmuz Ket Matlala and his business partner, Mr. Mike van Wyk. I must say here that we are not necessarily blaming Mr. van Wyk of anything, but we are just displaying the level that Kat Matlala has an interest of what's happening in the police, that he even communicates with his business partners. So the text that is extracted from Mr. Matlala's phone as he was communicating with Mr. Van Wyk, it reads as follows: a breaking news, NPA ID guns for National Police Rogue Unit. The NPA Investigative Directorate ID raids National Police Commissioner Fanny Masimula and National Crime Intelligence Head, Lieutenant General Kumalo's office, after serving them with notices of arrest. This comes after an investigation lodged by the Parliament Portfolio Committee. The National Police Commissioner, General Masimula, appeared weak and shaken when confronted by the ID. The ID had served him with arrest notice for 5 senior officers within Crime Intelligence Division, including its national head, General Kumalo. When serving the arrest notices, the National Commissioner asked the ID for indemnity from prosecution if he cooperates with them. An investigator states, the National Commissioner was very nervous and appeared to be shaking. He then blamed the collapse of crime intelligence at the hands of General Kumalo and KZN Provincial Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi developing. So this is just part one of the extract. This is an article that was carried in media. Commissioners, you're going to understand later when you show you the picture that as part of the concerted effort to damage the reputation of this Gauteng counterintelligence investigation operation is to feed the media with false information so that they create doubt about the officials that are working within that investigation team. So they're a typical example of what Kat Matlala sends to his associate. But to prove that his associate does not apprehend what is going on here, his response says, not good. A logic tells you that a story like this of the top management of the police being investigated, it can't be good. That is his expression, Mr. Van Wyk. But then the response from Matlala says, it's actually good, my person. It's actually good. My person is going to be a national commissioner now. So Van Wyk does not understand where is Matlala going with this. That's why he's an expression as an ordinary citizen to say, it can't be good that a national commission is painted like this. But Matlala says, no, actually this is a good thing because my person is going to be the national commissioner now. This is the picture, commissioners, that begins to emerge as we investigate. We know already that there is stories out there in the media that the national commission is going to be arrested by IDEC. They are mentioning IDEC here. That's why I'm demonstrating, as we're going to demonstrate further, that this very good entity that was established after the Zondo Commission, how it has been weaponized by the criminal syndicates that are operating within the police, in cahoot with those outside, and largely involve members of crime intelligence. But we'll demonstrate that later, commissioners.
Thank you, General Mkhwanazi. Commissioners.
Can I just confirm? I think MK19
Yes.
is the extract of what you have quoted in the body.
That's correct.
Of the statement. Is this extract what was published in the media, or this is Mr. Matlala himself just typing out?
It is an extract from the media that was published from the media that he copied and he posted on its WhatsApp chat.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you,
you, Mr.
Commissioner Baloi, that I was going to address that annexure MK19 as well. And based on the testimony of General Mkhwanazi, we read it from the bottom up. The conversation starts at the bottom entry and ends the timestamps to the left. Well, that 326, Chair, page 326. It's marked as an annexure, Commissioner. The point we're making, Chair, is that conversation is what General Mkhwanazi just read out, and he's reproduced it at page 73. But if one had to go to that particular annexure, please read from the bottom and make your way up to the page. That's the order of the conversation. Thank you, General. I had requested that there are some other matters you deal with.
Perhaps before you move on,
Yes, Chair.
General, if you do have the information, I know you are relying on others on this, but if you are able to, can you please explain the proximity between the minister and Mr. Karim, which would have caused Mr. Matala to ask Mr. Karim to intercede between him, Mr. Matala, and the minister, so that the contract is not cancelled.
Commissioner, the information will come with an investigation team as they are doing the phone linkages, the communication between the two, and many other means that they will be able to see how are they related, the two, and to what extent. But what we know from the extracts that I've seen is that there is a communication between himself and the minister. That's why Matlala approaches him to get to the minister, because he's aware that he has that close proximity to the minister, beside the one, Bran Mohotsi, that we're going to talk about later.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I was stepping off the topic, but we'll take a question.
No, you promised the witness that he can speak up to 239. There is 238 and 239.
It's a slightly different topic. We are stepping off from the correspondence between Mr. Van Wyk and Mr. Matala. Then overleaf at page 74, you speak of yet another person. So that's the third person within the business sector. But as we did point out, General, we'll just deal with what's set out in paragraph 238 and 239. And the rest we will revisit tomorrow when we deal with Mr. Mohotsi.
Commissioners, I must first maybe also apologize. The typo here on 238 in bracket, it's supposed to be Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, not Crime Intelligence. My mistake on this one. There's been a lot that one was doing. That's why some of the mistake will have crept in. So as we preface that with DPCI as an acronym, it actually stands for Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. And the acronym is supposed to read DPCI. So what we see here on the 11th of February 2025, it's a conversation between Mr. Rafadi with Mr. Matlala regarding the publication of the advertisement of a post of DPCI. The national head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation was to be going on retirement at the beginning of this financial year in May, and as such, the process of filling the post started. So the post was advertised in February with the intention of having gone through the interviews and find a candidate that is suitable that can be confirmed the appointment by Parliament before he takes over the position. In this conversation, when Mr. Rafadi sends Matlala this advert, Mr. Matlala responded to the advert, and his response was, and I quote, "They gave it to Gerald Spear already." So this was on advertisement, and the advertisement is sent by Mr. Rafadi to Matlala, and Matlala's response to Mr. Rafadi is that they gave it to Gerald Spear already. So this is, Commissioners, a communication that happens preceding even the panel coming together to sit and assess the applicants and conduct interviews and so forth. And this is what Matlala is saying. We know that the filling of the vacancies of DPCI head, it's a responsibility of the Minister of Police. So perhaps Mr. Matlala knew something we did not know. We know that the filling of the vacancy of, or the entity DPCI is an entity that is charged with the investigation of serious crime in our country, including organized crime, commercial crime, and so forth. So a person who's then charged with the responsibility of managing this entity, he must be beyond reproach. And for this name to be published by people who are currently in custody, it made us to realize the extent of the influence that these people who are investigating have over either the executive and the top structure of the South African Police Service. That's where we submit. I'm going to end this one there because the next one talks about Mr. Brown Mokgotsi that we had said we're going to engage on it later.
Can I just,
Sorry, Advocacy Law.
Yeah, yes,
Do we
yes,
have
Commissioner.
an annexure that accompanies?
no, that doesn't have an
238?
annexure. That doesn't have an annexure.
So where do we get that date of 11 February 2025?
The witness will explain.
Commissioners, as I said, the information that is in my disposal, some of the information I was briefed and I got to see. This is but one of the communication or extraction that the team has made when they were conducting investigation, that when the team appears here before the commission, will be able to present before the commission so you can see as they annex on their statements. There are many things that I did not annex on my statement that are in the position of the team as they are carrying out the investigation on these matters. That's why I said earlier, while we are busy with the commission, the investigation continues. We might flag things here in the commission, but it doesn't stop the investigation. Yes, there was a frustration of the investigation, which still is there as we are having some of these members involved in undergoing court cases, but the members are still continuing with the investigation. So this information will be presented to the commission when the members arrive.
Well, I had two questions for you on that score, General. You deal with this aspect under the heading business people. My question is, and because that part of your statement doesn't indicate who's Mr. Rafadi. You mention him here about him sending the published advertisement to Mr. Matlala, but you don't explain who Mr. Rafadi is.
Yeah, Commissioner, I did not want to put the full details of Mr. Rafadi avoiding litigations,
Okay.
but in camera, the details will be provided so that the commission get to know who the person is, but he is a business person.
Okay. I'm sure the commission will accept that. My second question is, do you know whether or not that advertised post was filled of the DPCI?
No, the post has not been filled to date. There's an acting head of DPCI. Although I am informed, and I don't want to disclose the source, but the panel did sit and they did go through the applications that were presented, and some people that were extracted from those that have applied, their files were moved to crime intelligence for crime intelligence to conduct vetting on them. And that is as far as I know, but the process has not been finalized because it will only be finalized when it gets to Parliament. What then happened after this advert is that post was withdrawn. And looks like they are starting a new process again to fill this vacancy.
Noted. Thank you. Thank you.
But I
Judge.
must maybe, I know it's not my position, perhaps not on the statement, just to indicate, I do not know the reasons for the withdrawal of the post. But it is my conclusion when I see the extract of Mr. Matlala that perhaps the person is talking about might not meet the requirement because DPCI's post to be filled you must be able to serve 7 years. So if you are not able to serve 7 years, you cannot be appointed into that position. I'm not saying that is a reason, but I'm reliably informed that that influence partly to why this post could not be filled.
Noted. Thank you, General. That, because we are jumping that portion dealing with Mr. Mkhotsi, that would lead us to the next sub-item, which is dealing now with political interference.
I note that the time now is
Yes.
5 to 4. Do we want to start that new topic
It
now?
won't be done in 5 minutes, so
Should
if it's more
we
comfortable.
not rather start tomorrow then?
We're happy to, Chair.
All right.
Thank you.
But otherwise, if you wanted to proceed.
No,
I would
no,
say
if
we will
it will stand down. Thank you.
adjourn at this stage and we'll resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's adjourn.